In football, international games that don't have anything to play for are called friendlies. In rugby, they're called tests. And that's exactly what England received in those two games. Tests. Brazil tested England with their physicality, and the Matildas tested the Lionesses' patience by retreating back to a low block after going down to 10 players. Even though there was the double brain fart of Angelina and Alana Kennedy, there are still a myriad of takeaways from these two games from an England perspective. So, in this video you're about to waste your time watching because it'll most likely be irrelevant in a month or so, here are 10 things we learned about the Lionesses after the games against Brazil and Australia. England's build-up structure is their biggest weakness. England build up by pushing their right back forward, creating a back three, and the central midfielder not called Keira Walsh will push higher up, looking to receive the ball in a dangerous position. But here's the thing. What's the point of pushing higher up if you can't even get the ball there in the first place? This has been a big problem for England for the last 2 years now. Brazil were able to shut down the England build-up by marking Keira Walsh, and the coaching staff really need to come up with a new build-up structure. There are two solutions to this. Either drop more players back to build up, guaranteeing that you get the ball out of your own half safely, or give up playing possession football and design a system built to play on the counter-attack. I think this better utilizes Keira Walsh's vision and passing ability, as she is fantastic at finding players running in behind into space. Brazil caught out England's build-up by pressing high against them, and it worked a treat, scoring 2 goals on the way to a well-deserved win for them. Speaking of possession-based football, this type of attack works if there is movement in the final third, looking to drag defenders out of position. Take a look at Beth Mead here, who I'll talk about later. She receives the ball in space and she has the time to turn forwards. Brazil's defensive line resembles a person having a panic attack, and every single England player is looking for the ball to be played to their feet instead of running in behind the Amazon rainforest. This is incredibly easy for Brazil to defend as every England threat is in front of them. You'd think this would be fixed against Australia, but as Walsh gets the ball, nobody is running in behind. Everyone is stood still like they're playing red light, green light in Squid Game, and this is something England need to address for the next round of games in a month. This is a team good at exploiting space, rather than creating it themselves. So what should England's attacking structure be? The Lionesses repeatedly dropped Alessia Russo back to hold up the ball, then having her pass the ball to a midfielder, and Ella Toone would run in behind to exploit the space created by Russo dragging a centre-back out of position. Angelina then turns into Develina, commits a needless foul and earns herself an early bath. This attacking pattern works, but the issue is that England didn't do this consistently against Brazil. Most of the time Alessia Russo held the ball up, there wasn't a player for her to lay the ball to. Against Australia, England looked much better, and I'm only referring to the period of the game before Alana Kennedy was sent off. The difference was in the fullbacks. Players like Beth Mead, Chloe Kelly, and Aggie Beaver-Jones all like to drift inwards to receive the ball, which makes sense considering they either used to play as a 9 or currently play as a 9. So if your wingers are drifting inwards, someone needs to hold the width of the team, or run in behind, and that's something Lucy Bronze and Taylor Hines did very well against the Matildas, and also Ella Toone. Passing triangles out wide were created, and Lucy Bronze doing what Lucy Bronze always does and gets forward and scores a goal for herself. We now see the difference between what happens if you give Keira Walsh space and if you don't give her any space. Brazil marked Walsh out of the game, even when they were down to 10, but Australia let her have the ball, and this little pause to play the ball to Toone is classic Walsh. This is what dictating the play means. Her initial movement to play the pass means that Alessia Russo and Beth Mead both have to make runs into the box to get on the end of it. But realizing that the ball to either player isn't on, Walsh then dummies the pass, and since Russo and Mead made runs in behind, the Australian defence is misaligned and the offside line is now back here. This opens up about 2 yards of space for Toone to run into as Ford doesn't track her run. Tooney squares it, no one from the Matildas picks up bronze, and she celebrates her birthday with a lovely goal. If England are dead set on playing possession football, then having fullbacks capable of holding the width of the team is very important. Also, let's bear in mind that England were missing the 2 Laurens, Hemp and James, and those 2 players are the best at beating a defender one-on-one. which is so important in a possession-based game in the event you are unable to pass your way through a defense. If I was Sarina Wiegman, I would be blooding the centre-back combination of Leah Williamson and Maya Letizia for the 2027 World Cup. Letizia was strong in defence against Australia, she was a proper leader and rock at the back, and what she does so well is her pace of distribution. She's always looking to play the ball forwards, she doesn't hold on to the ball for too long, and she's very good at keeping the tempo of the build-up high. I'm happy Sarina Wiegman gave her a chance at centre-half this series, and I think she's proved that she's there to stay. The next step is to test our Guernsey Gladiator at centre-back against teams that do like to press high. Considering both Brazil and Australia dropped to a low block after they received their red cards pretty early on, it's hard to judge what the Lionesses' defence looks like since both teams stopped trying to attack after going a player down. Continuing on with the backline, fullback is still an area of concern for the Lionesses. Lucy Bronze will probably keep playing until the 2067 World Cup, and I'm looking at Ella Morris to be the future starting right back once she's back fit from her ACL injury. Taylor Hines looked good at left back against Australia, and Niamh Charles played well at right back as well. I can see those two fighting for the left back berth since Alex Greenwood is much better as a centre half. Both Hines and Charles are good going forward and both have engines that allow them to get up and down the line, and they provide way more mobility up and down the flank than Greenwood. I've been Lucia Kendall's biggest fan since the start of the season. I even called it in this video where I said she would jump ahead of the midfield queue to be the number 2 behind Keira Walsh, and I'm so happy she played the full 90 minutes against the Matildas. Kendall was excellent. Her huge engine allows her to win the ball in her own box, and seconds later, she'd be the player furthest forward in the opposition's box. She had a few chances from headers and she provided a genuine threat going forward. But she was also exceptional at winning the ball back and cleaning up the play. She's able to play as both a box-to-box midfielder and a holding midfielder, which means she's next in line to replace Walsh or Stanway. This is the midfielder England have been looking for, and there's no way Sarina Wiegman will drop her from future England camps. Speaking of Keira Walsh and Georgia Stanway, they're not going anywhere. There's been a lot of talk of England needing new blood in the team, and whilst I don't disagree with that, as long as Walsh and Stanway keep playing at a high level, they won't be replaced in the team. Walsh is 28 and Stanway is 26. They arguably have their best years ahead of them. I get that they've been England's pivot for the last 3 tournaments now, and fans might start to get sick of seeing them in the midfield, but they're honestly just that good. Keira Walsh's defensive work is so important to the team, regularly covering for defenders that are dragged out of position. Look at her marking Bia Zanerato here. No other England midfielder gives you this level of defensive discipline, and Georgia Stanway's energy and physicality in the centre of the park is unrivaled. It is important for Sarina to start building depth in midfield with the likes of Lucia Kendall, Laura Blinkilde-Brown, Missy Bo-Kearns, and a couple more, but as long as Walsh and Stanway are fit, no one is taking their place. Beth Mead also isn't going anywhere. Yes, she may have lost a yard of pace and her trickery that made her such an irresistible talent, but she's evolved her game to one that's focused on good attacking positioning and linking the attack together. She's the one that made a good run to win the penalty for England against Brazil, and she regularly leaves her right wing to drift inwards, looking for opportunities to turn and play the ball forwards. This works well if you have someone like Lucy Bronze at right back, someone able to hold the width of the team. She worked her socks off in both games, and her attacking intelligence has really improved over the last 12 months. Beth Mead might not have been a player many were watching closely during the series of friendlies, but her influence on the games has to be mentioned. She still has a lot to give in an England shirt. I mentioned in the intro of this video that Brazil tested England physically, and Australia tested their patience by dropping into a low block, and physicality is something England isn't very good at handling. Brazil were able to halt England's attacking rhythm by literally trying to murder any English player near the ball. Issa Haas received a yellow card and was replaced so that they could keep the onslaught going, attempting to take out Alessia Russo once and for all. Whereas in the second game, England couldn't really find a way through against Australia, aside from the second goal I spoke about earlier. They had chances but none of them were clear cut. England's patience, movement and creativity was really tested against the Matildas, and this is something for them to improve on. This was a successful series, and as an England fan myself, I didn't care about the results. We got to see Kiara Keating in goal, we got to see Maya Letizia at centre-back, we got to see Lucia Kendall and Taylor Hines make their debuts, we got to see more of Esme Morgan at centre-half, and I was happy to see Missy Bo-Kearns get some minutes as well. It's clear Serena Wiegman wanted to experiment without making wholesale changes to the team, considering the core of the team is still strong and intact, and I'm fine with that. England don't need wholesale changes, rather just small tweaks and additions of youth and energy. There were players missing from the England squad due to injury, and Serena will no doubt try out even more combinations once the likes of Lauren Hemp, Lauren James and Leah Williamson are back. But for now, these were my takeaways from the 2 games against Brazil and Australia. Lots of positives, couple of negatives, but my overall emotion is excitement. This is an exciting squad, and I look forward to the next set of friendlies at the end of the year.